Hi everyone, I'm Emily Page and you're watching Start to Sold. And today we're starting a new series which is called Why I'm Glad I Didn't Quit. And we're going to interview entrepreneurs and founders who own physical products brands and have gone from zero to actually selling in stores. And they can share a little bit about their story. And what's exciting is I have Kevin Consolo here today. He's been a friend of mine for I think 4 or 5 years. Is that right?
I think it's longer than that. Maybe, yeah, about 4 or 5.
Yeah. And so we originally met at an ECRM trade show and became friends talking about owning a small business. And he started his own physical products company. We've been talking on the phone about the ups and downs. And I figured he could be here today to share his exciting victory of getting into Walmart. And so he co-founded SneakERASERS. And why don't you share what SneakERASERS is and a little bit of your founding story and how you got to Walmart?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Emily. I really appreciate it. SneakERASERS is a shoe care product, and we are patent pending for a pre-moistened, ready-to-use shoe cleaner that we basically invented out of a necessity, out of an issue. We, just like many inventions, we had a problem, and we wanted to solve it. We wanted to create something better in the market. And our co-founder, Chris Pavlica, who was getting ready for a pitch of his own. He was pitching to a bunch of executives. He's more of the creative type, so he wears sneakers for his meetings, not a suit and tie necessarily. So he was getting ready for the meeting, had about 20 minutes left, and he pulled out his sneakers out of his luggage from the trip, and he realized they were all scuffed up, and he had only a couple of minutes to get downstairs and meet these guys. And he was like, what do I do? How do I look the part? How do I look clean and get these shoes looking white and new again? And he looked online really quick and found a couple of home remedies of hand sanitizer or scrubbing bubbles in a toothbrush, or, and saw what was out there in the market. And there really wasn't anything he could do really quickly. He did have hand sanitizer. Obviously, he wasn't using his toothbrush in the hotel, but it did work a little bit, but he kind of knew there had to be something a little bit quicker. And for emergencies like that, when this new trend of white midsoles is coming around, to where all these shoes that you look around in airports and malls, all these people are wearing these bright white midsoles that get scuffed up so easily the first couple minutes you wear it. So he basically called me after that and said, this is an issue. How do people clean their shoes? Why is it so difficult? These things get scuffed up so quickly. We have to create something here. And Chris and I have been friends for a long time. We met in college, actually, in the same floor of the same dorm in freshman year. And we ended up living together sophomore year, where we always talked about businesses and ideas and things that we would create. And this was just kind of the thing that we just wanted to learn how to be an entrepreneur. We had that drive, how to create a product and an invention. And this was it. This was, we looked in the market, basically did our research, and there was a space missing, basically, where there wasn't something effective enough and not convenient enough as well. So SneakERASERS was born out of that issue, where you can actually just open this up. It's ready to use. You can keep the shoes on your feet while you clean them. It's effective because it's a compressed type of plastic product where it has an abrasiveness to remove those scuff marks and stains and dirt really easily. So you can put it in your pocket, you can put it in your purse, and it's kind of like that emergency shoe care product that is just ready to go. And we also have a couple other new products now, like the 10-pack, where when you fall in love with this, you can keep this at your house for deep cleaning, and then you can have these in your glove box or your gym bag or a computer bag as well. So we're really excited about where it's gone this year and from that invention, but it's been 3.5 years, so it's been a long road, and to get to where we are today. And I guess that's what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think that what you've created is obviously a very cool idea. Sneakerheads all over the world would need this product because you have great shoes, but you need those shoes to remain looking good. So it's a cool product. And I remember you and I sitting there and talking, I think we were talking about it in San Diego, drinking a margarita, like watching the sun set after some trade show, exhausted from working really hard. So we were just chatting and talking about life, and you were talking about this amazing, exciting product that you wanted to just launch. And talk a little bit about how painful, because it's still poignant, how painful and hard it was in the very beginning and what it was like. Like, what were the feelings that you felt? What were moments when you, what did it feel like? What were some moments where you found really difficult and hard?
Well, I have a business background in marketing, and I worked for ECRM, and so I understood the new item review process and how to hopefully get a product onto the shelf. And we just started with a certain strategy of sneakerheads, and we thought we knew the audience for the product. Was actually first named Soul Rubbers, and it was a little bit more of a trendy packaging with some hashtags on it, and we just thought that it should be in every sneaker shop in America for the people that are, have collectibles, their shoes that they sell on eBay or resell that they want to keep pristine. It works really well for those types of Jordans, Yeezys, NMDs, and those types of trendy, expensive shoes. And we just realized along the way that there was so much more to that, and we changed our business plan to so many different demographics that fell in love with this product along the way. It's moms, athletes, whether you're a golfer, soccer player, cheerleader, you might be a nurse and you want to clean your shoes. Everybody likes clean shoes. We just realized that this was a bigger deal than we even thought. It was just, so we had a lot of roadblocks in the beginning of trying to sell to a shop in Sacramento and Chicago and New York, and we didn't have boots on the ground and reps all over the country, and we were just trying to launch a product and learn how to do that, and it had some success. We were in 22 states at one point, but to learn about our future and how to make this sustainable as a product was a lot of lonely nights about why is this not working and where do we go from here.
Well, and there was one time where you specifically called me, and I remember talking to you, and you said, I need to decide, like, something needs to change between now and the next, like 6 months or something, or I'm quitting, because as cool as it is, it's so hard. And I think that was such a fun phone call, not because I was not happy that you were going through a I have those same moments. I regularly have had those moments in my life. And that it's so interesting because those are the turning point moments. Those are the moments that define your business. And there's nothing wrong with going through a moment where you're like, should I keep doing this? Or should I quit? Because that's the test that you're sane. It takes a level of to keep pushing past that point of uncomfortability. And so do you remember what it was that was making it that way? Was it because you'd been working for so long and not had a big retailer? Was that what it was? Or was it a financing issue? Or what, in that moment when you thought about quitting, what was that caused that feeling?
Well, this basically started as an entrepreneurial hobby, and through our drive to create a product and find some success from scratch and, create the UPC, create the packaging, create the marketing and social media and advertising, and find what people are looking for and get it out there and be a brand ambassador and learn all the things that I've learned in business school and do everything. But it was a hobby. I had a full-time job, and I was doing this on Sunday and in evenings, and the sacrifices that we were making for our hobbies, or this was our hobby now, this was our life outside of work. And I was saying no to certain social activities or things that I could be doing in my 20s and 30s, that I would have loved to have done, but I'm in working on an assembly line or visiting a factory or doing some business thing by myself, and it just became a little lonely. Where are these hours that are worth it? I'm not getting paid for this. This is really just out of the passion. And where does the passion end? Where you have to, can this be a career, and can this be real? And so it was just really about to the point where, we were looking for our big domino, is what Chris and I, Chris Pavica, the founder, and I talk about is what was our domino, and we were looking for somebody to believe in us and try this product and believe in it as much as we believe in it. And it does take some demos and testing and to understand and to watch videos and to get in front of the right people. And we always talked about things that we needed to do in the initiative for this. And it really was a lot of time. And And until January 1st this year, when I decided to leave my full-time job and I said, yes, I'm going to give this the time it needs, then we finally broke through this year and had some success. And so, you know, it really is taking a risk and getting to that next step. And you're fully in or you're not. So it was tough.
Right. Well, tell me, since then, what's happened is that when you did quit your job, you were able to develop an amazing opportunity to be able to sell your product into Walmart. And obviously, anyone who watches this video is like, whoa, everyone knows that's a big domino, like you said. And so I'd love if you could share maybe some advice for how you got into Walmart or what it took from you, whether it was on a mental level or strategy level, for an entrepreneur watching who's like, I have the same desire. How do you do that?
Well, absolutely. There are a couple different ways, and it took a lot of different steps. And looking back in hindsight, to get into Walmart, we had to have all of our ducks in a row, had to be fully prepared. And it took several years working on the side as a hobby to get this ready to be spending time on it, to be ready for Walmart. Walmart doesn't just take a supplier and it's on the shelf the next week. A lot of times, if they like a product, it may have to be tweaked, it may have to be perfected. And the whole logistics plan of creating jobs in America, or having your loading docks ready, or the distribution, getting a vendor number, the paperwork, there's a lot that goes into getting on the shelf, and they tell you to be patient, and sometimes it can take over a year if they like a product to get onto the shelf. So we actually are grateful that we did those steps along the way to be ready for our pitch. But really, the first part of it was taking a risk, and it was, I made this a career, and I decided to spend some more time on it. Chris and I, the co-founder, Chris Pavlica, and I just basically always talked about, okay, if this failed down the road for whatever reason, what would we regret at the end of, man, I really wish we could have tried this, or maybe we should have just spent a couple grand on this, or and we just decided one of those items, we had a bullet point list of items that we made that one Sunday or whatever it was, that we should really try a trade show and get in front of the buyers and just get yeses and nos and maybes and get those answers from everybody. And hopefully there are some yeses, and use our experience to have those face-to-face meetings. And from my background with ECRM, efficient collaborative retail marketing, the best face-to-face shows, I don't think I'm biased, and now I know that I'm not biased because it was very effective. But we ended up attending the Check Lane and Impulse planning session program in February in Chicago. We took the leap. It is expensive for a startup. You're just creating a product. You don't have capital investments, and a lot of it is your own money that you're putting into this.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's expensive, but it's so worth it. It's so productive. You get those 10 or 20 minutes with each buyer. They can actually hold your product in their hand. They can watch the demo. They can watch the video. And in those 10 minutes, now they know about your product, and now they know about your mission. And
they've seen your face. They've seen your face.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference too. They know what you look like and who you are.
Yeah.
Sincerity and passion in your voice, and I think that also helps.
Yeah, and they're not just meeting a rep or something that's stopping by at a trade show. It was Chris and I sitting there we've been working on this for 3.5 years, and blood, sweat, and tears, long nights, redesign after redesign, meeting with logistics, attorneys, all this stuff. So we're very passionate about it, and it really came through. And this is our big step. But we knew that, hey, we're going to spend this money on this trade show. If it wasn't successful, if everybody said no, then we got the answer. There's not a fit for this market, whether it's mass retail or club stores or convenience stores or distributors. If everyone said no, then we can move on. But we learned how to create a product and invent it. But we were so surprised, not necessarily surprised, but way above expectations. A lot of people said yes. A lot of people loved the product. We left that trade show with all these great meetings, and wow, it was just so worth it to had those meetings. And once they were over, basically we stood up and looked at each other and hugged, and we're just like, we have something here. And that, like, so we actually, we got a couple of retailers, we got our domino effects to be ready, but also the networking sessions and meeting different people. And, it's, you also get new ideas that materialize, and you get a lot of feedback from buyers. And even if your product's maybe not ready for them that day, we actually invented some new product lines and SKUs in our product family from that event that we didn't think of, but the buyers felt like that was a really good fit. So,
that is such a good point.
yeah, absolutely, very helpful.
Yeah. So the main point that you said is that it's just really important to take a risk, because you can't test the concept until you've kind of invested something. It sort of has to cost you something to get to that next level and know whether or not it's worth your time and worth your while.
Yeah, and I was getting meetings around the country too, but it does cost $1,000, $2,000 here and there for flights, hotels, and sure, I could try to travel around the country, buy an RV and try to go to every lobby of every retailer, but it just made the most sense for us to have 40 meetings in 2 or 3 days and a lot of big names, and we just needed a couple of yeses to really get our start into mass retail, where we could really get out to those moms and athletes and sneakerheads and nurses and all the different demographics that we were looking for, and really start our marketing and launch. So it was totally worth it.
So so would you say that number one would be risk, taking a risk. Number two would maybe be sucking it up, go to a trade show. You went to CRM, and like that kind of preparing for that kind of thing is really important. And another thing that you kind of said was talking about how you got to Walmart, but I think you said that took so much logistics, it took so much planning, and it was probably a really good thing that you had smaller stores leading up to that, because you had to figure out all the logistics, like what type of packaging were you going to sell it in, where were you going to, because there's the sell unit packaging, but then there is the other type of packaging that can be like at the end cap or hanging out and displaying your product, and you kind of don't know those things until you start selling in smaller stores. Are there any other pieces of advice that you would tell an emerging brand before they get into a company like Walmart that you think it takes for them to get there? Is there anything else you'd add to that?
Well, I mean, and part of the success to get into Walmart too was a little bit of luck, and sometimes with luck you have to find a way to create that luck. And going to ECRM allowed us to talk to other distributors and merchandisers and suppliers, and not necessarily competitors in our space, but other people going through the same thing. And when you talk to other entrepreneurs and people that have had success in the retail world, hey, this is how we did it. I suggest you talk to this guy, or go on LinkedIn and search this and find these people, and or I have 10 minutes. Let's sit down and just chat, and they can kind of tell you their steps and their whether they use reps or distributors or brokers. And a lot of times you just learn a lot. So go to the networking sessions, pick up the phone. If someone says, here's my card, email them, call them, say, hey, can I have 5 or 10 minutes of your time? And just to pick your brain. That allowed us to meet our Walmart distributor. Going to ECRM, they were actually another attendee as meeting with other buyers. And some people might just leave their meeting space and go back to their room, and that's that. But we didn't have that, we basically were set up in the opportunity where we wanted to meet every single person of the 300, 400 people that were at that show, just to try to find that one person that could help us get to that next step, whether it was a retailer or not. So we met our Walmart distributor at that show. They carry other products and impulse and clip strips at Walmart, and finding someone that has that expertise and if they like your product and kind of pull you aside and be able to help you with that process. It was such a huge opportunity for us, because the owner of that distributor used to work with Sam Walton for 25 years and was an executive at Walmart, and left Walmart to have his own distributor. So I think they're based in Arkansas. They have a vendor number already with Walmart. So when they basically decided to carry our products, all of that paperwork and all of that time and our product basically became part of their vendor network. And that helped us become ready for the pitch at Walmart. And which helped us become, the invite to the Made in America Open Call event. That we were lucky enough to be invited to the 6th annual event and Open Call this year in Arkansas. So that helped us. I attended with our distributor and get to that point, but we already had 3 years of product development, and we already had a vendor number with our distributor. So all the logistics were figured out, and then getting the Sidekick display that we ended up getting in Walmart was kind of already figured out in Arkansas by their packaging company, and so we kind of really collaborated. And again, if we didn't attend that trade show, we would have never met our Walmart distributor. I don't know where we would be today.
Those stories are so inspiring, and that's why I just was so excited to ask you to be interviewed, and was glad that you're willing to be here and share those stories, because anyone listening to that, regardless of whether you own a brand, if you're working in a company, that is still inspiring to hear how you broke through. And it's hard to even go back to those moments when you were so confused and thought about giving up, because once you get past it, you forget the pain of it. But every person is at a moment in their life where they are asking themselves, do I keep going or do I give up? And it's so exciting to hear the story about how you did keep going and it paid off, and in a really exciting, cool way. And this is just still even the start of things.
Yeah, I used to make fun of people that cried on Shark Tank, and I feel like every episode people cry, and it's always a different story. I'm just like, why is this so sad? But you do start to really realize with every entrepreneur, there's a lot of pain from 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. It's a lot of sacrifices, and whether it's a side job, a hobby, or whatever it may be. But this isn't built overnight. You're not in Walmart the first month, and you're not in big retailers the first year or two. It's so much learning. I learn something every day. I learn something today, and I'll learn something next week. And I want to take more phone calls. I have a lot of meetings set up, and you never stop learning. But there's ups and downs, and there's crisis. There's panic, and you have to learn how to handle it and move on, and how to improve every week. But so I totally understand now. So every entrepreneur just has that story, and yeah, I think every entrepreneur probably wants to give up, at least 100 times. I mean, is this worth it? And is this going anywhere? So creating something from nothing and working for yourself and your own objectives, and creating something that you basically own wherever this is going to go, and the effort that you put in is where it's going to end up. And it's not a 9 to 5. It's everything. So I totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you're describing is like a psychic income. There's the financial income. Yeah. We all want to make it big, but I think you can't just do an entrepreneurial venture for the love of the money, because then you make the wrong choices. You have to do it for the love of the game. And the game is figuring out how to be independent, figuring out how to make something work, enjoying that thrill. You have to enjoy the ups and the downs. And there has to be some level of mental enjoyment that you get from that before you make it big, so that you can keep going. And so the joy of fighting that struggle and being like, that turning point of moment where you're like, do I give up? Do I keep going? Is a super crucial moment, because that's where you create the value. You have to decide what the value is to you outside of whether or not it's a success or not. And so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, our aha moment of creating this product is, we think it's so successful. It's so effective. It's what the shoe care category needs. And, obviously when it's your product, you just love it so much, it's your baby. But, no one's going to understand that just by, you build a website, you put it on Amazon. You can't just sit back and be like, wow, this is going to sell. Everybody's going to find this.
Right.
But it just takes a lot of work to not only get into a retailer, but just have the people in the masses fall in love with it the same way, and that you're in love with it. So we're so lucky that, I took the dive and the risk here to go to the trade show, and to make this a full-time job, and to be available all around the country right now, and in so many different ways online and different brick and mortar retail. So we're excited for everybody else to try SneakERASERS.
Well, what if people want to try it? Kevin, where would they go to buy your new product? Tell them a few places to find it.
They can always go on Amazon. It's Amazon's choice for shoe care and Amazon Prime. It's also on Walmart.com, 2-day shipping, and also Kroger ships program, KrogerShip.com. And you can also find it in Walmart around the country, as we mentioned, in their Grab These Heat sidekicks, right by the shoe care section.
What do they type in when they're on Amazon? Is it SneakERASERS, one word?
SneakERASERS, one word. So this is it right here.
We'll have links in the.
Awesome. Yes, SneakERASERS. You'll find the 3-pack, the 5-pack, 12-pack, and then also the dry Just Add Water 10-pack for deep cleaning at the home. Those are available on Kroger and Walmart as well. So yeah, several different places online to get them. You can go to SneakERASERS.com for more info. I'm on LinkedIn as well, and you can always reach out for Kevin Consolo, and you can go on our SneakERASERS.com website and the contact us prompt and send us a note. So I really appreciate your support.
Yeah, so go and support anyone who's watching. Please go check it out. And you can also, so go buy them on Amazon.com. We'll have all the links in the bio. And also like and subscribe to this channel, because we are going to have more and more interviews with people like Kevin to share with you and inspire you about your physical product entrepreneurial journey. So thanks for joining us. And thank you, Kevin, so much. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.